Just to introduce you a wee bit, this is Morag Hamilton, and she is one of the coaches currently doing a level 2 coaching at East Fife Triathlon Club, the junior section, and also coaches at the adult section now as well. Morag has been a massive part of the club ever since it started 5 years ago. She's one of the core team of coaches that are there, and also oversees all the bikeability instruction, which is no mean feat in itself. Having helped out with that, my heart was in my mouth at some of those sessions, but it was very, very good and very, very worthwhile. So I'm just thanks very much, Morag, for coming along. Okay, so coming out of the previous lockdown, what made you decide to take your junior section back to its training?
Well, we took the decision to bring the junior section back together for cycle and run sessions after the initial lockdown, as we felt it was the right thing to do. We had discussions on suitable venues, which coaches were comfortable and able to coach, and if we felt confident that we could operate within the Scottish Parliament guidelines. We then decided that we'd return to slightly shortened sessions to build up the fitness of the kids and make it feel like a nice kind of relaxed, not workout, but just fun sessions was the idea. And in order to gauge whether resuming training was what our members and parents desired, we took a softly approach with, like I say, the emphasis on having lots of fun, lots of games, and just gradually getting them back into fitness. Normalising life for our young athletes while working in the guidelines was our main priority. And it turned out great, and we were really happy with how it all panned out.
Brilliant, thank you for that. So when you did go back, how did you do it? So what steps did you take as a club to sort of up to the running of the club? How did you get into the actual sessions? What steps did you take?
Yeah, well, we took into account all the guidance. We trained up COVID officers and welfare and well-being officers. We engaged a new booking system that was managed and administered by parent helpers and committee members. We did that because we wanted to make sure we had all the relevant details for every session so that we were compliant at all times. And it turned out that it was a fantastic thing to do anyway, because we all knew who was going to turn up at every session. And there was no worrying about, oh God, do we have someone's details, which sometimes was an issue in the past, but now you couldn't come along unless we had all those details. So that was a positive that came out of it, because it was mandatory for all the athletes to pre-register. So before each session, we discussed social distancing with each of our groups and how this would affect the coaching. Everyone took it on board. We had loads of parent helpers who were really supportive and probably quite happy just to get the kids out of the house and doing something sociable in a safe environment. All the sessions went really smoothly and were great fun. As soon as we were back at it, everyone wanted to come along and join in. Prior to the actual coaching resuming, we had a coaches meeting in an outdoor setting where we all agreed the terms we would return under in order to give everyone the best experience for the coaches and the participants. But, it was, once we worked our way through all the sort of legal stuff that we had to comply with, it actually went really, really smoothly. It seems daunting to begin with, but when you break it all down, it's actually, it's just like you normally would, but there's just a few more rules and regulations in place.
Perfect. So when you got back, how were the sessions received by say the members, existing members? Did you pick up any additional members to the club? Anything that you took away from that?
Yeah, well, what we did was we managed to get in touch with a local country park and approach them to see if they would be interested in us using their facilities for some of our sessions. And it worked out like an amazing symbiotic relationship where they had a cafe that was underutilized. We had a bunch of kids that needed a different setting to do their running and biking skills, more kind of off-roady. And so the parents came along and used the cafe, and we used the facilities of the park. We had a huge area so everyone could socially distance, and it just worked out really great, and it was a bit more sheltered than the exposed areas we had been used to working in. I think the existing members got a whole lot out of it, because they were able to try out different skills on their bikes. They were able to run in muddy rather than sandy areas. That was great. Since the end of lockdown, I think we've got 25 new members. We're absolutely full to the gunnels now, and we've got a waiting list for kids to join. I think the highlights from the whole, going back thing has been that the young activators, who are kind of 15 to 17-year-old age group, that some of them are still taking part in training and some of them aren't so keen on the training but want to still be part of the club. They've been taking an interest in helping the coaches draw up sessions. They've laid out activity areas. They've been great when the coaches have wanted something demonstrated that, like for our example, I'm not that amazing at demonstrating some skills, so I'll take on a young activator. They'll demonstrate the skill, and it's great for the younger ones because it's so nurturing and everyone feels it's worthwhile, everyone's got a role, and it just makes for a really great kind of family club feeling. So really, really positive. Great.
Brilliant. So do you have any top tips for any clubs that are thinking about going back? Lessons that you learned, maybe you would advise other clubs to do? Any takeaways?
Yeah, like I said earlier, read through the legislation. It's not actually that daunting. Make sure you've got enough people on board who understand the COVID legislation. Go to the Sports Scotland website, read the stuff. It's actually really, really simple, and we're all pretty well tuned to it now. When we initially went back, nobody was kind of like, oh my God, what's all the social distancing, etc., and how do we do it, how do we manage it? But everything's written there in black and white. You can pick it up really easily. And the more people that have the COVID officer status, the better, because that means everyone's looking out for everyone else. So like I say, get yourselves organised. Ensure everyone is involved and aware of the current regulations. Accept all the offers of assistance that you can from parent helpers and club members, and give everyone that comes along a meaningful task so that they feel worthwhile. They're not just coming along and being like an extra person, but they're actually, even if it's just watching children doing a dead turn and saying, keep your foot up on the inside, that's a great thing, because every time the kids will come to a dead turn, they'll remember that, and that's making people think, right, I'm doing this, I'm part of this club, and I'm useful. And what I would say is literally just go for it, because you have nothing to lose and loads to gain, and everyone else does too.